let us discuss zero-sum games. So game theory is an area whose origins go all the way back to 1928 when it was first developed by or founded. This area was founded by John von Neumann. John von Neumann was a Hungarian-American mathematician and is generally regarded as the foremost mathematician of his time. He has made major contributions to many fields, including mathematics, physics, economics, computing, and statistics. He was a child prodigy, and a popular anecdote about him is that he once solved an open problem in a few minutes during the class. In fact, George Danzig, the founder of linear programming and the father of optimization, confessed that he was completely amazed when von Neumann not only understood linear programming but connected zero-sum games with duality theory in the course of a single meeting. So in game theory, we model strategic interactions. In particular, the payoff in game theory depends on others' choices also. So let's look at an example of a game or a zero-sum game, and this would demonstrate what I'm talking about. So let's take a very common example. Let's take the game of rock, paper, scissors. Okay. So rock, paper, scissors is a game where two people choose rock, paper, or scissors simultaneously. And the game is such that rock is better than scissors, which is better than paper, which is better than rock. So depending on what the two people choose, the one who chooses better wins. Now let us write down the payoff matrix for this game. So let's say that the payoff matrix, so let's say that the payoff is 1 if I win, and -1 if I lose, and 0 if it is a draw. So let's write down the choices of player 1 and then also write down the choices of player 2. So these are the choices of player 2. First of all, if both the players choose the same, then it is a draw. So the payoff is 0 in that case. Then if player 2 chooses scissors, player 1 chooses rock, then player 1 wins. So this is the player payoff matrix for player 1. Right? So if player 1 wins, then the payoff matrix will be, the payoff will be 1. And in this case, the player 1 loses. And likewise, in this case, the player 1 wins. Then -1, 1, and -1. So you can verify that this is the payoff matrix for player 1. Now observe here that this is a zero-sum game, which means that the total payoff for player 1 and player 2 at any point is always 0. So if player 1 wins, player 2 loses, and if player 1 loses, player 2 wins. Or it could be a draw. So the total payoff is always 0. So in all such games, not only rock, paper, scissors, but any such interaction, there is always a need to choose a strategy. So each player will need to choose a strategy, which essentially amounts to the choice of a row or column. There are different kinds of strategies possible. One, for example, is the pure strategy. So pure strategy is a deterministic choice, which means that I pick the row and column and I go with it always. Now you can see in this case of rock, paper, scissors that there is no correct strategy. I cannot always say that I will always play rock, right? So there's no deterministic strategy that the players can make which will allow them to win, right? So it is not necessary that a deterministic or pure strategy exists. So sometimes no such pure strategy exists. Then there is the mixed strategy. So in mixed strategy, we make a random choice. So each of the players makes a random choice. So for example, you could say that player 1 picks row I with probability Pi such that summation of Pi is equal to 1, right? So if there are, let's say, several n number of rows, then the player 1 picks row I with probability Pi, and player 2 picks column J with probability Qj, so that summation of Qj for j equal to 1 to m is equal to 1. And then our goal can be to find out what is optimal P and Q for players 1 and 2 respectively. So that is the idea of a mixed strategy. And in case of mixed strategy, you may need to find out what is the optimal P and Q. Now, this was a big breakthrough when it was found that deterministic strategy is not always the only strategy that you can play in these cases, and mixed strategies can generally be better than deterministic strategies. So let's look at this game from player 2's point of view. So let's say that we are considering player 2's analysis. So what would player 2 think? So suppose that player 2 uses strategy Q, which means that Q1 to Qm are the probabilities associated with the columns of the payoff matrix. Now in this case, the payoff for player 2 is given by, so let us say that the payoff matrix is denoted by A. So payoff matrix for player 2 is A. The matrix is A, so A is n cross m, and in that case the payoff is given by P transpose A Q. So this is basically I equal to 1 to n, j equal to 1 to m, Pi Qj Aij. So this is the total payoff, because with probability Pi, ith row will be chosen, and with probability Qj, jth row will be jth column will be chosen. So Pi Qj Aij will be the summation of this will be the expected payoff, right? So this is the expected payoff. So now, given this, that player 2 uses the strategy Q and the expected payoff is this much, what would player 1 do? So the question is, what would player 1 do? Player 1 would basically have to choose P. So player 1 must choose P such that P is equal to argmin of P transpose AQ. Because remember, player 1's goal is to minimize the payoff of player 2. In that way, player 1 will be able to maximize their own payoff. So player 1 should choose P such that P is equal to argmin of P transpose AQ. Argmin is over P, of course. and of course we require P to be a proper probability. So 1 transpose P is equal to 1. Okay, and P are all greater than equal to 0. So this is the problem that player 1 should choose, or player 1 should solve. Now player 2 knows that player 1 is thinking strategically, and therefore player 2 thinks that player 1 will actually solve this problem and choose their probability according to P. And therefore, what should player 2 choose? So player 2 should choose Q such that the payoff that is obtained by player 1 is minimized. Or in other words, player 2 should choose Q such that the payoff obtained by player 2 is maximized, and the payoff obtained by player 2 is the minimum value of this quantity. So therefore, player 2 should solve the problem maximize over Q, minimize over P, P transpose AQ subject to 1 transpose P equal to 1, and then we now have 1 transpose Q equal to 1 because Q is also a variable, and P is greater than equal to 0, Q is greater than equal to 0, right? So this is the internal problem, the inner problem which is solved by player 1, and then this is the outer problem which is solved by player 2. So this is the problem that the player 2 should choose. Now if player 1 was also thinking in the same way, so player 2 reaches upon the decision that they must solve this problem. Now if player 1 was also thinking in the same way, player 1 would have thought that player 2 would maximize their payoff, and therefore they should minimize player 2's payoff, right? So the problem from the perspective of, so from the perspective of player 1, the P1 problem is given by minimize over P, maximize over Q, P transpose AQ. So now remember now what is going on. What is going on is that player 1 thinks that player 2 will maximize P transpose AQ by choosing an appropriate Q, and therefore player 1 should minimize the maximum payoff that player 2 hopes to achieve. So again 1 transpose Q equal to 1, 1 transpose P equal to 1, Q is greater than equal to 0, P is greater than equal to 0. So this is the P1 problem. Now this is very interesting. The scenario is fairly symmetric. We have player 1 choosing the best strategy according to what they think should be the payoff attained by player 2, and vice versa. Player 2 is also choosing the best strategy. The question then arises is, whose strategy is better? Now, given that P and Q, I have not really specified what P and Q are. P and Q are chosen according to what A is, and A can be anything. Now, given this, one would expect that these two strategies should end up to be the same, right? So this was in fact a major result from 1928. So this was the result from 1928, where it was established that solution to P1, the payoff attained by P1 by choosing P in this way, is equal to the payoff attained by P2 by choosing in this way. And in fact, the P and Q values would also turn out to be the same in both P1 and P2. And that's very interesting because it is showing that a max-min problem here solves to be equal to this min-max problem. Essentially, we are saying that we can interchange maximum and minimum here. Now, although the result in 1928 was proven using completely different tools, we can actually show that these two problems are same by using strong duality of linear programming problems. So we know that linear programming problems Strong duality holds for linear programming problems, and we can show that here easily. So let's do that. Let us write down the proof of this by using linear programming strong duality. So for that purpose, let us observe that if we have to write down P transpose AQ minimized with respect to P, it can be written as 1 transpose P is equal to 1 and P is greater than or equal to 0. Let's try to solve this problem. So what does it turn out to be? This is basically minimize I equal to 1 to n Pi times AQ and then ith entry of that, and summation Pi equal to 1, Pi is all greater than or equal to 0. Now this problem you might have already solved. We are essentially saying that Pi times a weight we are minimizing, and summation Pi is equal to 1, Pi is greater than or equal to 0. So what is the solution of this? We can essentially choose the AQ, the ith row of AQ, which minimizes that quantity, right? So the solution of this is minimize over I, AQ, I. This problem we have already seen in earlier lectures. So basically the inner problem, the solution of that is the minimum of I, AQ, ith entry. So then the P2 problem becomes maximize minimum over I, AQ, I, subject to 1 transpose Q equal to 1 and Q greater than or equal to 0. Now what else? We can apply the epigraph trick. So now we can apply the epigraph trick to write it as maximize T subject to minimize over I, AQ, I greater than or equal to T, subject to Qj greater than or equal to 0 and summation Qj equal to 1. And since minimum of AQI is greater than or equal to T, this constraint is equivalent to saying that AQ is greater than or equal to T times this all one vector, right? Or AQ of I is greater than or equal to T, or AQ is greater than or equal to T times 1, right? So this is our different changed or modified problem. In the same way, I can also write down P1 by applying the epigraph trick again, and that would turn out to be minimize S subject to A transpose P, jth entry less than or equal to S, and Pi is greater than or equal to 0 and summation Pi is equal to 1. Again, this constraint is compactly written as A transpose P less than or equal to S times 1, right? So now observe that both have been written as linear programming problems, and now it is possible for us, so I will leave that as a homework, that you show that P1 and P2 are duals of each other. So P1 and P2 are duals of each other, and from strong duality you could conclude that the primal optimum is equal to the dual optimum, and that will allow us to conclude that the strategies chosen by players 1 and 2 are actually same. This was earlier called the Minimax theorem, which basically laid down the conditions under which min and max can be changed in certain problems, and that led to the development of the duality theory. So duality theory came after this, much later than this. Duality theory was in fact discovered in 1945 when Newman and George Dantzig collaborated. So the duality theory proof that I have presented is really later development, but the earlier development was the minimax theorem and the link between minimizing and maximizing, and when we can interchange those two.